Good afternoon, everybody. I'm back here again to review Chapter 2 today for Tom McKay's book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Now, quick disclaimer in the beginning, and then we'll get on to you making $1,000,000. I have no affiliation with Tom, never met him, never talked to him, never emailed him. I live on the East Coast, he lives on the West Coast. I'm just a real estate educator, investor, broker, appraiser. 40 years experience. I was also one of the top ranked REO asset managers in the country during the last mortgage crisis. I came across this book because I collect books about real estate and I read all the time. This is the best real estate investors book I've ever read. I used to have a super favorite that was from the 1950s, but this one for today is on base, on target, and if you read it and study it, you can make $1,000,000. I'm just going to go through every day. I'm going to review a chapter. There's like 34 chapters. There might be a couple in here that I don't have to review, but let's start today with Chapter 2. And Chapter 2 is titled Keep It Simple and Focus on What Matters. And I can't overstate that enough, and I agree with Tom. See, what I'm doing here is Tom has written out his experiences and what he's done. I've done these same things, never talked to Tom, and over the course of the 40 years, we've come to the same outcome, meaning you do the same things, you can come to the same outcome. So let's get back to Chapter 2 quick. And I would, I don't even have an Amazon link, so I'm not trying to promote this book for like making 25 cents a copy. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how many minutes this will go. I could make a lot of money with that 10 minutes. I mean, a lot of money, you'd be surprised. But so I'm not making any profit off this book. I'm just here to say, yes, this is why it works. Here's my experience, and I did it too, exactly like Tom's doing it, and you can too. So let's go through, and every time I'm going to throw a couple of extra things in there that will help you. So Tom says, keep it simple and focus on what matters. And I can't overstate this enough. I'm the worst case scenario for this. I bought my first property at 18 and bought a bunch of them, and that got me through college, right? I got a degree in real estate in Manhattan. I was a farm boy from upstate New York. And everybody was telling me, you got to get off this farm, you got to do this, you got to do this. Well, I bought 3 houses on that same road as that farm was on before I went to college. And I made the money, and it put me through college to get that degree in Manhattan, the real estate degree. And throughout my life, I've sort of like always thought I needed something else to succeed, even though I was succeeding. But I bought this book that was printed in the 1950s and got started. And I've kind of made it complicated too. So sometimes you say you always need more education, you always need something more. But no, if you have this book, this Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate book, you have what you need. And I teach this in all my classes. I start off, I got so many licenses for, in so many states for teaching real estate on all levels, appraiser, salespeople, broker. I teach investment classes, and I always start off by saying, would you want somebody like this on your team, or could you compete against somebody like this? Well, anybody can compete with me. It's not because of my education, it's because of the experiences and the structure and not making things too difficult. And this is what this chapter is about. Maybe I'm making this too difficult by talking too much about it. But anyway, keep it simple, because sometimes there's a saying, paralysis by analysis. And we use that sort of for a means of procrastination. But if you got to get going, do the deal. You'll pick up and learn something and on every single deal. And time goes on to, you got to change your thinking, because, a lot of people think, I can't do that because my parents were rich. I don't have a real estate degree. I can't do that. I'm not a genius. He goes on to say, it takes money to make money. If you find a deal, a great deal, even if it's the first one, you can find an investor that will go in on that deal. So, you know, eh, don't put so many obstacles in your way. You can do it. And on page 22, he goes on and says, remember, you can't win the lottery unless you buy a ticket. You know, if you don't buy this book, possibly you're not going to be a real estate investor. And I go on this, like I ended. If you listen to the first chapter review I did, and I stated, there's so many people that come to my classes, and I'm not even going to link my classes here. There's so many people that come to my classes, and some of them are, they're mandatory continuing ed classes and stuff like that. But there's so many people that I see that will invest like $10 a week in lottery tickets, or $10 at McDonald's for lunch, or $150 for a concert ticket. But I tell them, buy this book for $10 or $20. Oh, I don't know about that. The book's going to make you $1 million. The lottery ticket got a chance, but it's a far reach. He goes on and states about appearances. And I got caught up in this. Like I said, I was a farm boy from upstate New York. Went to Manhattan, and it was a different world. And I had money for making these deals before I went to college there. And I went up to Brooks Brothers, the store, and I bought a suit for every day of the week. And I'm not going to tell you what this cost, and it was back then. And then I went out to the custom shirt shop and bought, shirts with French cuffs. But it was a different time in Manhattan at the time. One of the top selling books was Dress for Success. And certain times I needed to be that, but I didn't need a closet that was the price of a car. I made many deals where, like he goes on to say, people never see you. You talk to them on the phone, I send them letters, they never see you, so the appearance isn't the thing. And I've lost so many deals because I was overdressed. I came in, they thought I was a shark. So, don't get wrapped up in your appearance. Invest in your knowledge, not your clothes. So, just a couple quick other things on this chapter too, but you got to get the book. You got to get a hard copy so you can write the notes in it. Follow along. And I'm going to do every chapter, and we're going to talk about the main points, but every single chapter here has something in it that you really need to read 2 or 3 times, and then we'll sink in, and you'll see how it relates. He's got a couple links to his videos in here, which are good. He's got the great website. He does. And, this is all practical experience. I listen to some of these other young YouTubers, and they're YouTubers. They claim they're real estate brokers or agents or investors on the side, but, their main income is YouTube. It's not real estate. They're not real long-term investors. They've never been through a real downturn cycle. They've invested after the last downturn, and they've only seen up. And now they're getting a little shaky right now. So listen to your alternatives, who you got to listen to. Tom has been through decades of this. I've been through decades of this. The reference material he's supplying will get you through ups and downs. But it's a long-term game. It's not an overnight success. And don't make it, there's some people I know that you talk to, and if they told the truth, it would be better. But they just make up a lie. It's just for no reason. Well, sometimes people make things a lot more difficult in business than you have to. I'm laughing, but you just got to focus on what's there, learn, and it's the simple things. It's the simple things. Keep it in order, keep a system, and keep moving on. It doesn't take long to get through this book. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. And I don't have a link to Amazon. I'm not promoting this book, so you're going to have to go on Amazon and buy it yourself. And but I bought a couple of the hard copies. But just look at Chapter 2. It's got the quick points in there, because so many times we say we can't do it. We tell ourselves we can't do it. Every one of our friends or family, if you experience a little success, and they're too afraid to do it, they've been too afraid to do it themselves, so they poo-poo on your story, or you poo-poo on your goals. But be the breakout. Go and do it. And there's always going to be people that, because you've succeeded or tried something, that are going to try to talk negatively about you because they didn't have the courage to do it. Don't be fearful. Just get the wisdom out of this book and put it in place. Tomorrow, chapter 3, and tomorrow, chapter 3 is knowing what is not a risk. And it's a short chapter, so we'll get through that quick. But it's 1 a.m. where I am right now, and I got to get back to work.